Coming up this week, how could we improve the quality of life for impoverished Indigenous communities? Also, after 6 months in power, how would you rate the new Liberal government hitting the streets? This is Outburst. Hello and welcome to Outburst. I'm Glenn McGuinness. Well, the Northern Ontario Indigenous community of Attawapiskat recently declared a state of emergency after an increase in suicide attempts, nearly 100 since last summer. It's not the first time that Attawapiskat has been in the news. Poor living conditions has resulted in a housing crisis, and it's been well documented in the media that many homes in the area are considered unfit to live in. We took to the streets with this question: what is the best way to improve the quality of life in impoverished Indigenous communities?
I think the best way is to honor the promises we made to those communities many years ago, which not only did we dishonor then, but continue to our own profit. It's very simple.
Well, I think they should get some industry up there and get some jobs. I think that'd be the first step. We can't, those responsible should, be taken to task and not walk away from the situation. I understand it went on for more than 100 years. Outrageous conduct. I didn't even know it. I couldn't believe Canada would allow something like this. What's with our government here allowing that to go on and continue on? And what did the Queen do about it? Nothing. That's it.
Even things like starting with making sure that our schools have education on the history that happened here, the residential school history, and would go a long way towards solving current problems in our First Nations communities, and listening to our activists in the First Nations communities, the youth that are currently occupying the INAC offices, they have things to say that we should be listening to, and the I Don't Know More movement, and these are future leaders, and we should be the settlers here should be supporting those Indigenous youth.
To be honest, we should be probably trying to do things to help them get off reserves. From my understanding of it, at the very least, there's the weird thing where they can't afford a car or something like that, so they can't get to where there are jobs, so they're stuck at the jobs that are there. Not a lot of jobs there. This is from my understanding. So if we could find a way to either get more jobs there or make it easier for them to get to jobs, that would probably be the best way to help them, I think.
From being an outsider, not knowing the intricacies of their basis, I would say giving them the resources where they can deal with things themselves. They're the ones in the issue. They're the ones that know how best to deal with it. Give them the resources so that they can deal with whatever situation they find themselves in.
Yeah, I think getting a grasp of the scope of these problems is a really crucial first step. And I am seeing, I think, stronger pushes and more voices towards accomplishing that, really finding out the gravity of the problems here. And then it's an investment of people's time and energy and focus into these communities to let people know that it is getting worked on and it is a priority. People need to feel that's happening, and in order to do it effectively, people got to see what they're dealing with.
The first thing that we have to do is go back to the TRC calls to action that were made recently and look at what the TRC says in terms of mental health and community wellness, and bring things back to the community and bringing culturally relevant programming to kids and helping families become healthier and safer so kids feel supported.
Probably moving the communities if they're not actually on the right place at the right time right now. And I think we lack right now on this, the government lack of attempt to moving people.
I would say there has to be more emphasis on people being able to rebuild their own culture, because a lot of the problems socially on places like Attawapiskat seem to be people who are lost in between two cultures and don't know where they fit in the world and figure that they don't. And so that's why you have problems with suicides.
I think it's really to go to what they need and to say what they think their needs are. Being outsiders, I don't think we should decide what they need. I think it's really should come from them, and to really work with them to implement what they think is best. Because if we come in with these solutions that we think is okay, it's not necessarily what they're looking for, and it's not necessarily going to work. It's to really go to what works, like with them, with their community, like culture-wise and stuff like that, and to not expect that we have all the big solutions, because they won't necessarily be responsive to that.
I do believe that we have a good prime minister right now who is shedding light on these issues, and he has been responsive and has been taking responsibility for it. And we have seen Justin Trudeau being really good to these communities and showing that we have to take care of them, we have to provide them with the support that they need and address this problem. And we need to stop ignoring that there is an issue here and continue to provide support and programs that will help them, these communities. Other than that, as people, we just need to recognize that we are in this together and to lend a hand.
What Canadian city is nicknamed the City of Bridges? Edmonton, Saskatoon, or Winnipeg?
Edmonton.
Edmonton.
Edmonton?
Winnipeg? I don't know.
I'm going to say Saskatoon.
You would be absolutely correct.
Yay. Very good. Thank you.
Saskatoon is known as the City of Bridges due to the 7 structures in the area that span the South Saskatchewan River.
It appears the Liberal government is thinking twice about Canada's role in the U.S. ballistic missile defense program. It's a preventative measure using powerful radar and ground-based missiles to intercept incoming warheads. Canada's role would be to provide interceptor and radar sites. About 10 years ago, Paul Martin's government turned down the idea when approached by the Bush administration. So we set out to see what you think about it. Our question: should Canada participate with the U.S. in a ballistic missile defense program?
We're pretty much a neutral country for the most part, and if we start stepping back into programs like that, then we're showing ourselves as a threat to other countries that don't see us as a threat. And for right now, I think we should just stay neutral to everything and just keep helping out, like the policing actions that we do. Outside of that, missile programs aren't good.
My general inclination is say no. As far as reasons why I do that, I always see Canada more as kind of a peacekeeping nation. That being said, what steps could be taken to continue this? Yeah, I don't know.
No, because there's technologies upgrading so quickly that whatever they come up with now is going to be outdated but with whatever they're being attacked with. So the best course of action is to make sure that there's no missiles out there.
Yeah, I think we have to defend ourselves and the country, and, why not? Korea's out of touch. China's not doing anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. They're trying to do something, but I really wonder whether they really are doing anything. North Korea needs to shape up and follow the program, and that means no nukes for North Korea. Iran has followed, and all the sanctions were taken off of Iran. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's stop what we can, and if we can't, then, arm ourselves.
When it comes to issues that might lay in the realm of fear and threat, understanding those threats, am I a threat? Or is anything pointing at me? I don't really know as just a person every day, right? And I think a lot of us are probably in that same field. So I wouldn't want to give an answer to that to really understand, what the level of danger is. But I also think it's important for Canada to have an independent decision on these, voice that, and if that opinion means that you do side with some people that share that opinion of yours, well, so be it. But to blankly join someone that's been our partner before on something of this kind of magnitude, I couldn't just say yes or no right away.
Oh, God, I think just that question alone is just the fact that we have to think about this now. It's already something that should scare citizens in general. But if it's something that is definitely going to help national security, I think we should definitely go for it. But we also have to keep in mind that, we need to approach interventions and anything that has to do with wars or missiles or that differently than we have in the past. So I don't know. I'm it's yes if it's a good thing, and if they're willing to do it in a different way that they used to, it's a good thing. But if it's still going to be the way that they used to do the older intervention, I'm not for it.
Oh, of course not. I think that it's interesting that recently Justin Trudeau spoke at a youth forum about Canada being a peacekeeping nation, and that it didn't have the baggage of colonialism in a lot of these nations that Canada does peacekeeping in, and so it's really important to not invest in more kind of arms related issues.
I think Canada should participate with all the countries as long as it benefit Canada too. We cannot just go on a ride with the other countries just because they want to pull us with them. So I think our opinion matters too.
Not at all. I think we should be peacekeepers when we can and maintain that, because I don't want to live in a country that looks more like the U.S. than it already does.
Canada has never been known as an aggressor, so but defensively, I do believe I wouldn't say we should invest like the United States does invest into the military program, but we should be precautious and still invest in our defense mechanism. We should still be a country that knows how to defend ourselves if we are under attack. Even I don't believe we will be attacked, since we are always the one there to help, there to provide support. But a small amount of defensive wouldn't hurt us. Maybe it would, but financially. But it's a good thing to have.
I think before replying that, I will have to check on the facts, and legally speaking, what would be the legal, political, economic factors to assess before providing you a comprehensive answer.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, they build their opinions on these things without knowing like Elias said, the kind of the details economically and politically and behind the decisions, and that we should have a little bit more trust in our officials, that this is something that has been researched thoroughly, and if it's something to go forward with, then it's for the better.
We're so close to the U.S. that if we're not in sync with them, we'll probably suffer in the long range.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, North Korea seems to be getting aggressive. You don't know what they're going to do. So we need some protection there, I guess, and 'cause they might get crazy. You know what I mean?
I don't see why not. I don't see why not. We work with them in so many different ways in terms of military and so on, so I don't see why not.
I might be a bit biased, but like if Trump's on board, I'm pretty much like no, trying to like cut ties with him. But if it's more geared towards the U.S., or if it might be better to focus on something else because they're our allies and that they can protect us in a certain way. I don't know. I guess that would be my answer. It all depends on what goes on in the U.S. politics.
I mean, I'd need to know more about the issue, but I'm generally kind of apprehensive about overzealous security measures like that. I find they can very easily be taken too far, and the U.S. has a tendency to do that. I'd need to know more, but it's certainly not. It certainly sets off a lot of red flags for me.
Who was Prime Minister during Queen Elizabeth's first official visit to Canada in 1957? John Diefenbaker, Lester B. Pearson, or Louis Saint Laurent?
Diefenbaker.
Pearson.
Saint Laurent.
I can say Saint Laurent.
Diefenbaker.
It is Diefenbaker.
Okay.
Very good.
John Diefenbaker was Prime Minister when Elizabeth II made her first official visit to Canada as Queen.
The city of Vancouver has been a long-standing example of safe injection sites, legally sanctioned, medically supervised facilities which provide IV drug users with clean needles to help prevent the spread of disease while providing a safe place for users. The idea has been well received, but not every Canadian city is in favor of participating. We sent our cameras out to see if you think they're a good idea. Our question: what is your opinion on safe injection sites?
They're probably a very good idea as far as what I understand of them. They are, in fact, helping them. I mean, like the people that are addicted to heroin and what have you, that is an addiction. You don't just say, stop doing the thing or we'll throw you in jail. That's not going to really help them stop doing the thing. So giving them at least a place to do it safely is probably one of the first steps to helping them get off of it. So probably a very good idea.
I think that safe injection sites are an amazing idea. They improve a neighborhood. They do not deteriorate it at all. And I think that the more help we have for drug and alcohol problems in Canada, the better the country will be and the stronger it will be, because I think it's an incredible issue here.
All around, I think it's somewhat of a good idea. I mean, we've had one here for quite a while. It seems to be keeping the needles and stuff out of the restaurant bathrooms and out of the parks and stuff. I mean, Wilmot Park seems to be a better place all of a sudden because of it. But I think they need to control it more and try to help people rather than just say, oh, here, come get a clean needle and shoot yourself. So, but outside of that, I think that's the biggest problem is, yes, we know people are going to do it, but you're encouraging them a safer way to do it instead of giving them help to get off of it. So.
I know people that have worked in with such models, and I believe that it's a good idea. I don't know a lot about the issue, but I think it is something that our community frontline workers have long advocated for as a more effective way of treatment in our community. So,
properly run. I see no issue with it. Basically, they would just need to have proper security on hand to deal with situations as they arrive, because we are dealing with fringe individuals which have not only drug addiction issues, but they would also have mental issues. So they would need to have proper training for the individuals running the place and proper security for issues that could arise.
Yeah, I think mental health and addiction are really big problems, and I think we're a ways away from solving them. So I think ways to mediate people's suffering while they're afflicted with it without having an answer for them, maybe, is not the worst thing in the world. A lot of compassionate people have the opportunity to work and do work that I probably wouldn't want to do, so I applaud them for that too. And you know, if it's regulated by the right people and the money and the intent isn't coming from a good spot, I think it probably reduces suffering, which is good.
I think it's absurd that we're still debating it. We need these. They're proven to work. They're extremely effective. There's been plenty of studies, and open them, please. You can people are always saying not in my backyard. Open it in mine. Then I'm fine with it.
Definitely. And people who have drug addiction of any kind, it speaks to broader mental health or community wellness things. And safe injection sites offer the ability for mental health workers, social workers to go in and provide direct intervention to kind of address the other environmental factors around a drug addict's use. And it's much better that we're using some safe, guaranteed safe injections to make sure that we don't have these people overloading our emergency health care rooms, and having repeat visits. If you look at statistics, you see that people with drug addiction are being continuously hospitalized within 100-day periods because they just can't get the help that they need.
Well, I think when you go on that path, you're not there because you want. I think all the help you can get, special to don't spread diseases and everything, I think it should be helpful.
That is a hard question. It is, to a certain extent, we do want to help, but I don't know if helping them continue their, I would say, wrong habits is the safe way to go about it. But education, try to help them, but again, just providing a program in which they can receive that support, and where the doctors, if at least nurses, can be there to advise them into different methods of getting clean.
It would be a good idea instead of getting sick because they're using stuff that could be dirty and stuff. So I think that's a good idea.
To give them a safe environment to inject themselves, it's not necessarily going to create more addicts. It's going to help them, and it's going to help the health system a lot, because these people, they go into the hospitals and they're treated like they're trash, and it would be best to avoid overdoses and like that. And they're really going to be encadrés. I have the word in French, but they're really going to be taken care of, I guess, by the health professionals, and it's going to avoid overdoses or other medical issues that are related to drug use, and safe needles. So that reduces the HIV, AIDS, Hep C, and all that, and it'll be create a safer environment.
I love them. They're great. I think they're very important. I think it's like anything else where people are super supportive of them until they figure out like maybe they're going to be in their neighborhood and stuff. But what's the alternative?
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberal government recently marked their first 6 months in power. Though technically it's not a lot of time to get stuff done, there may be time to get the ball rolling on a few election promises. So we set out to ask you how you think they're doing up to now. So for our final question, we asked, how would you rate the Liberal government's first 6 months in power?
Oh, well, I think that they're doing as effective job as they can with what they were left with. And I think that it goes to any government when they take it over. There's a babysitting period, and now I think after 6 months we're going to see Justin do his thing.
I honestly stopped following him after the first month. A lot of the policies I've seen them saying that they're introducing, they were already in effect. People just didn't know about them. A lot of like the programs for education and stuff, they were already there. People could already get at them, but now they're reintroducing them and making them public and saying that, oh, you know, we're doing this to help. No, it was already there. You guys used to make it public before. And then the whole thing about legalizing drugs like marijuana. And once again, it comes down to you're not helping people better themselves. You're helping, like, make people stay where they are. I don't see how that's going to better anything in Canada.
Well, I really don't know at this point. He has said he wants transparency. I really haven't seen that yet, although I do wear glasses, and that could be a problem. And I really don't know. I really don't have an opinion on that right now. Let's see it go a year, and then, you know, start doing something other than what's being done now.
For the situations that they've found themselves in, I think they're doing an excellent job. Then again, it's only 6 months, and we are early into the term, and we'll see how their follow-through is. But what they're beginning with is, I agree with wholeheartedly so far.
I would say favorably. Maybe not overtly favorably, but favorably. Some of the promises that they made, they're keeping. I mean, for example, they have some young kids, so the child tax benefit or whatever the name's been changed to. They promised that they would continue that or boost it for families, and they've done that. So, you know, I think that's a promise kept. So that's good to me.
I think that it's still a bit early. Like it's, I'm not someone who believes in like a rating system to begin with, but it seems that there's already been some issues, especially regarding indigenous issues. That's for me, that's like really important because I live on Algonquin territory. And Justin Trudeau said he would deal with on a nation-to-nation basis, and already that's not happening. And it's really important that he really honors his word on that matter.
I think pretty good. I have to admit, I'm usually quite politically interested, but I haven't been following extremely closely. But I think he's doing his best so far, Trudeau.
It's hard to put a rate right now because right now it's, you know, the fairy tale and everything looks good. It's a honeymoon. But from what I can see, his initiatives have been relatively good. He seems like he does want to help. He does want to make a change, and he does want to proceed forward with a good foot. It looks good. He looks promising. I cross my fingers that he keeps this up and doesn't turn on us. But other than that, I do believe that his new policies and everything that he's put on the table for the Canadian government should benefit the Canadian population.
I think it's too early for me to base that opinion. Right now, it's probably good things on the right path. Some ones I don't agree with, so I will leave it right now as give it a little bit more time.
So far, I think we need to definitely give it some time, because definitely when we're coming from a government that, you know, that treated their policies differently, you need to give it some time for the other one to adjust and basically, I don't want to say fix what the other government has done, but definitely we need to give it some time. But I think so far I think Trudeau especially, he's all about like making people see that he's willing to talk, to have an open discussion with different type of groups. So I think so far he's doing a great job.
They've made it funny already. I don't know, on paper it looks pretty good. But who's to say? I think the long-term goals of his budget and stuff like that are to be seen in the future. I mean, there's a lot of deficit spending going on, so I don't know if that shows right now. It'll show in a few years. But it's put us on the map again, and anyone is better than Harper was. So, yeah, that's pretty good. A passing grade.
Well, I think that they've done a good job at building a good public appreciation of some of the new objectives that they have, and whether it might be kind of time for action is probably what we'll hopefully be seeing next. But so far, they've done a good job at like returning back to some of the core values of Canadian nationalism, and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. So.
I think it's excellent. I think that its strength of sending a message to Canadians about appreciating Canadians, credibility, accountability, transparency are all very important values that we all share. And furthermore, the leadership at the international scale is something that Canada was lacking, and certainly we are back in track. You see that a lot with the UN system, with its bilateral and multilateral diplomatic relationships. So I think I'm very pleased.
It's fantastic. My posture is better. My hair seems thicker and fuller. I think our standing in the world is great. And I think that there's just a general... I mean, it's not snowing anymore, so, I mean, in the last 6 months, the weather's gotten warmer. I don't know if he can take credit for that, but I'm going to give it to him.
Which Prime Minister is said to have sent his own money to starving families during the Great Depression? R.B. Bennett, Sir Charles Tupper, Sir Wilfrid Laurier. Bennett, Tupper, Laurier.
Laurier?
Laurier.
Bennett. I'd say Laurier, but I don't know.
Tupper?
Bennett.
It is Bennett.
Go for it!
Very good.
During the Great Depression, former Prime Minister R.B. Bennett was known to respond with donations to impoverished families who requested financial help.
That's all for this episode of Outburst. Just a reminder, don't forget to check out our new CPAC TV To Go app and our CPAC Quiz Canada Trivia app. For more information, check our website, www.cpac.ca. I'm Glenn McGuinness, and on behalf of all my colleagues at the Cable Public Affairs Channel, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.